Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And this from an anonymous author of Days Gone By. Quote, "Few women admit their age. Few men act theirs." How true. Hey, morning, good morning. It's Zeb at the Ranch. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in. Good morning. Oh, my goodness sakes, you can succeed if you try in this great country of America. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, like, of course, Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, let's start the week off right with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Are you the man?
I am the man this morning.
All right, go for it.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. And right now it's time for our weather forecast, and that's brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Number to call, 678-3122. Roger and the crew. They open the doors Monday through Friday, 7 in the morning to 5:30 at night, Saturdays 7 to 6. Hey, they've got all your tools. They've got all your equipment, from forklifts to lawn mowers, and they've been in business since 1979. Right now they bring you the weather. K&R Rental. Here's Gina.
Going to be a fairly nice day as we start the beginning of the work week. However, as we get on into the evening hours, we might see some rain showers and thunderstorms. Here's your weather forecast for today. Partly cloudy skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 94. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms and rain showers this evening. Cloudy skies after midnight. Expecting a low of 62, winds out of the southwest, 10 to 20 miles an hour in the overnight hours. Tomorrow, we are looking at partly cloudy skies, still a slight chance of some rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. High of 84, expecting mostly clear skies, and 60 for Tuesday night. And Wednesday looks like partly cloudy skies with a high of 85. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. And they're also a Honda engine dealer, so they've got all the parts you might need for wheel lines. So get a hold of them today, K&R Rental. The number to call, 678-3122. Morning, and welcome to a Monday edition. We start a new week, and I gotta tell you, I did not want to play radio this morning. I woke up at about 4:30, and I said, no, let's just kind of roll over for a little bit. And I thought all of a sudden that little bit might turn into a couple hours more sleep. So here we are, ready to rock and roll on a Monday, already July 24th. And don't forget our friends at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Kevin, Cindy, I've got clothes over there. I've got to go get some more clothes over there. I've got to take some more clothes down. My goodness sakes. By the way, if you don't have time with your busy, hectic schedule to wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes, they can And they will. All you got to do is take them in and ask them. 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. The best. Daryl's Cleaners, working and serving you. Okay? There you go. Give them a call. Stop in. I would really appreciate some calls today at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Got a lot of stories to talk about, but I need your involvement, so give us a jingle as we're getting into the thrust of fair season. I'm telling you, a lot of fairs are starting. A lot of fairs are going to get underway, my goodness sakes, and we'll be telling you all about that information. Really... enough. There is no proof about any, underline the word, any Russian collusion with Donald Trump, his family, or this current Trump administration. 7 months. The Democrats have been trying to turn over every rock, every stone, every pebble. They can't find anything but, some of the headlines in the sleazy media. Here's the straw that's going to break the camel's back. Look out for Jared Kushner. Look out for Paul Manafort. This was done. Trump got up from the table and went over and said something to Putin. It was sinister. I would really like to change gears here for a moment, and I'd like somebody out there in the audience, I'm sure there are many, that are very knowledgeable about what's gone on in the past with Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, Wild Bill, and the left. I'm going to ask this question. I would like to have answers this morning about Obama and Hillary and the sale of our Oregon uranium, which just happens to be in the same location where they had the standoff for a couple of weeks with some of the ranchers, and very unfortunately, some people were killed. How come? How come to Russia, the sale of that uranium? There are a lot of questions. You want to talk about collusion? Bring it on, baby. You want to talk about maybe some underhandedness? Bring it on. But we need to be asking these questions. We need to be pointing our finger at some of the clandestine activities and viewpoints of the left and Democrats, and especially the Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Clinton Foundation connection. And also tied into Obama. How and why? You want to talk about collusion? You want about selling about our interests and also our assets and providing them to some of the country that happens to be an enemy? Bring it on. Calls welcome. Come on, callers. Give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday, and they do have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. I don't care if you need one little light bulb, they've got it all over there, including all your air conditioning filters to keep you cool. Yeah, we're still looking at highs in the lower 90s, and you want to make sure that that air conditioner is running efficiently. Give them a call, stop in, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Caller, I'll be right there with you. Stand by. I also want to remind you about Denny's Restaurant. We had a phenomenal lunch bunch the other day at Denny's Restaurant. I'm telling you what, the food was I broke down, I did, and had that strawberry cream pancakes again. It is so good. And Deanne had a sandwich that was just knock your boots off delicious. Everything. The service is great. The food is great. We just love it at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Location at 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. It's true. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning and thank you.
Oh, good morning, Zeb. All this garbage that's going on with the Democrats is nothing but a bunch of stalling tactics. That's all that is. They want to stall until the next election. They figure if they keep the vote upset, they're going to destroy the Republican Party from within. What they don't understand is they're going to take the whole country down with them.
Well, there's something interesting that's happened in the last 48 hours, though, over the weekend, Tony. The Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader, say that, and this just knocked my socks off when I heard it coming from Schumer, that the Democrats can only blame themselves, not Russia, for Hillary Clinton's loss. And here's what Schumer told the Washington Post on Saturday morning. When you lose to somebody who has 40% popularity, you don't blame other things. You blame yourself. What happened? What woke them up? Where did they get this epiphany that all of a sudden maybe they're not such a good party?
Well, Democrats are probably looking for, they're going to totally self-destruct. They're running scared now, so they better start giving out some of the truth to the public.
Well,
otherwise, people have lost total faith in the Democratic Party.
I agree. I totally agree with you, and I'll tell you something else I want to get your opinion on, and I want to get some other people to call, too. What did you think of their new slogan that they're coming out with in the Democratic Party? And I'm kind of paraphrasing what it is. Better life, better jobs, better future, vote Democrat. All it is stealing the Papa John's pizza slogan, and the Democrats are using that. What are your thoughts?
Well, the Democratic parties are desperate. They'll do anything to sway people's opinion of them. They're trying to get people back on their side to build up a whole bunch of voters for the next election that's coming up. The Democratic Party is basically nothing more than a bunch of socialists and communists, and this is why Donald Trump got elected.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think their slogan leaves a lot to be desired. Tony, how is Mary doing, by the way?
Well, she has good days and bad days, but you know her. She's a pioneer type of woman, and she just doesn't throw in the towel.
Yeah, absolutely. She doesn't throw in the towel, but she'll throw the towel at you.
That's happened before.
Tony, God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
Okay.
All right. I love those folks. Really, really nice people. Come on, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Better life, better jobs, better future. Like I said, it's a Papa John's pizza slogan. This is what the Democrats are preaching now. But wait a minute, let's back up for a little bit. Let's take them a couple items at a time, like better life. Evidently not with the 8 years of Obama. Better jobs, evidently not after the 8 years with Obama. Better future? No, I'll tell you what, I'll put my money and my bets on the Trump administration. Tougher for our enemies. Better economy. I think we're doing just fine right where we are. And Chuck Schumer and the rest of them can spin it any way they want to, and they can try to transitionalize their party's attitude from resist and fight to, oh, well, we're going to change everything and be the party of the future. You got a long way to go, baby, let me tell you that. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with my buddy Nick and the rest of the crew over there. They are the best at what they do. You know, there's a lot of physical therapists, but these folks at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation really put the time, the effort, and their personalities into caring for each and every person that goes in there. They know all the exercises and the sports medicine, and they know exactly, what to do in the sports medicine hydrotherapy pool. Oh, my goodness, that helped me, and it'll help you too. Call, make an appointment today at 678-1191. 678-1191, the best. Working and serving to help you get back to being you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Really good folks. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, this is not the country I grew up in, where you call the president foul names and other people and use filthy words when you describe them.
Yeah.
This is not.
Yeah.
You know, when Obama was in there, we didn't do that. We didn't care for him. In fact, I'm like you. I despised him. But I didn't go around calling him names like he was bad.
Well, you know, wait a minute, Keith.
We wouldn't be there forever.
Wait a minute, Keith. What you just said is really the truth. On this program, I never called him a name. I never did anything except just speak the truth about his shortcomings, and I did not like his ideology. I didn't like anything about him. But I refused to be backed into a corner by the Democrats and not say exactly what he is or what he represents. The Democrats tried to pin the tail on the donkey, me, and I wouldn't accept that. And the man was, in my opinion, and he will be, after history really studies what he was about, he will go down as, I think, one of the worst presidents that we've ever had.
Well, all we can do is hope. But, you know, this is like a game. And when you have a game, you have rules. And these people are totally out of control, who are Obama supporters, and some people are not even Obama supporters. They're just don't like Trump.
Well, I think it's part of the mantra right now that they're not going to ever try to make America better. They're not going to try to clean up their act. They're going to be just absolutely lousy with hatred and animus against this administration for hoping and praying for failure. I have nothing, excuse me, I choked to death. I have nothing good to say about the liberal left in this country because right now they are totally, in my opinion, un-American.
Well, if you think it was very slanderous and everything in the last presidential election, you wait and see what's coming up.
Yeah.
Because these people will throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink.
I wish that 2018 could be a kickoff of a election where people are going to just use the facts and use honest news reporting, and I don't think it's going to happen that way. Keith, I agree with you. Thank you so much for your call. Good to see you and Nancy the other day at Lunch Bunch. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Same to you.
All right, sir. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, even Bernie Sanders, you know, when is enough enough? Bernie Sanders is 75 years of age. And he is honestly contemplating running again in 2020 and denouncing any opportunity for Joe Biden, both of which I think are way too old to run for the presidency, both of which will be knocking on the door of 80 years old in 2020. That's too old. I'm just going to come out and say it. It's way too old. Too many pitfalls and problems can prevail themselves, and they need to have an extension of maybe starting at an age and ending at an age. Absolutely. Bernie Sanders at 80 years old, can you imagine what his hair is going to look like if he has any hair left at that time? And some of the wild stance of communistic attitudes that he's going to try to purvey? Ay. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's talk a little bit about Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. They are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area, and they make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. They invite the public to come by and visit the facility anytime and check it out for your loved one that might need that extra care and that extra help. 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. Come on, callers. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This story really scares me. A Wisconsin company, my old home state of Wisconsin, they want to offer, the key word right there, surgically implanted microchips for employees to make it easier to buy snacks in the break room? What? Yeah. The supposed company CEO, Todd Westby, said that the implanted microchip will make it easier for people to pay for the items at work. Instead of looking for coins, cash, or a credit card, they would only need to place their hand in front of a scanner and electronically pay for their item. Are we insane? Have we got to the point where we're going to accept the mark of the beast and we're going to be controlled by a computer? And listen to what they said from this company. We foresee the use of RFID technology to drive everything from making purchases in our office break room market, opening doors, use of copy machines, logging into our office computers, unlocking phones, sharing business cards, storing medical health information, and used as payments for other RFID terminals. Eventually, this guy by the name of Westby of this company said, this technology will become standardized, allowing you to use this as your passport, public transit, all purchasing opportunities, etc. My question is to you folks this morning, would you do this? Would you allow a company to put a microchip in your body to buy snacks? And all the information about you, everything, could be data about your health, your economic conditions. Everything about you could be taken. Everything about you would be known. Once you accept the implant of that microchip into your body, I really want to see if there's anybody out there that says, oh, well, that's all right. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I was calling back on that one, Zeb. What this is all headed for is 1984.
Yep.
All it would take is one man sitting in a big chair to control the entire world.
Yeah.
This is where it's all going.
They would know where you are all the time, 24/7, 365. They would know everything about your personality. They would know everything about your health status. They would know everything about your economic status. There would be nothing. They wouldn't know where you were or what you are. They would have all the information all the time.
Yeah, it's coming down to one world government if we're not careful.
I can't imagine that already 50 people at this company have volunteered to have the microchip inserted. Those are 50 nut jobs that should be fired if, they got the option to do this, but it's insane to buy snacks. Are you kidding me?
Well, I guess they figure they've got these 50 happy people, and they're going to be salesmen for this stuff. They're going to be out trying to sell this chip deal to whoever people want to fall into it.
Yeah. I think that this is absolutely the beginning of the end when people are dumb enough to do something this stupid. Tony, God bless you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Calls, well, would you do this? I mean, am I missing something here? Somebody's got to call me, and if this is an acceptance of the mark of the beast as the Bible has prophesied, if this isn't absolutely selling out to Big Brother, Big Government to know everything about you 24/7 all year long, and the stupidity of putting in a microchip to buy snacks? Call me Right now, I'm going to give away some cookies, and it's for first-time winners only, please. And we want to say thank you to our wonderful friends over at Sophie's Chatterbox. Oh, my goodness, 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. Delicious restaurant, delicious bakery. Oh, you got to try their maple scones. Oh, they're delicious. And right now, we're going to give away a dozen cookies, and it's an easy question this morning. All right, the first person that can call in and give me the answer to the names of the Three Stooges. First person to give me the names of the Three Stooges comedy trio. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quickly, win a dozen cookies, first-time winners. Give me the names of the Three Stooges, and you'll be the lucky winner of the cookies. So come on, quickly, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Delicious cookies and a delicious restaurant, Sophie's Chatterbox. Quickly, call me, 436-2244. I got ahead of myself. Had too many twos running in there at the same time. And Larry, I'd like to give the cookies away. First person that calls with the names of the Three Stooges. I almost said one of them. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zed. This is Jeff.
Yes, sir.
I got a question about this contest real quick. I've never won the cookies.
Okay.
I have won the cinnamon rolls way back.
Way back? All right. Well, as long as you've never won the cookies, give me the answer to the question.
Larry, Curly, and Moe.
You got it. All right. And, Jeff, you get...
another one called Shemp, but he was later.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you just named them. Don't confuse the issue. Larry, Moe, Curly, Joe. And you're the winner of those cookies. So you call over there to let them know when you're going to be there to pick up your cookies. They'll have them ready for you.
I sure will. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. Our winner of the cookies this morning, Larry, Moe, and Curly Joe. Yes, sir. Come on, give me a call. Would you honestly submit to letting someone put a microchip in your body? Now, Deanne's going to come get that, and there we go. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'd like to hear your response on this. I know we got a lot of people out there, and surprisingly, I have run into people that say, oh, what's the matter with that? All I'd have to do is just go to the grocery store and slide my wrist across the scanner, and I pay for my groceries. Are we really that insensitive to caring for our privacy? Do you really want Big Brother government, and for that matter, anybody and everybody in the world to know where you are 24/7, what you're doing, what you eat, what you like, what your health is? That's something that's very concerning to me. Health issues. Because all of a sudden it could turn into kind of a hemlock society, especially for the elderly. Well, he has incurable cancer. Well, she has heart disease that is just about ready to take her off the face of the earth. Any problem, anybody, everybody would know everything about you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, Zed, this is Jeff again. And since nobody else seems to want to be interested in answering your question about putting a chip in you, no. Not only no, but H, no.
What if it became mandatory? What if we lived in George Orwell's world, 1984? What if they said we can't allow you to buy groceries, we can't allow you to buy gasoline, we can't allow you to go anywhere without this microchip because we want to know everything about you for security reasons? What would you do then, my friend?
Well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that there would probably be a whole bunch of others that would not want to do this, and there would become a underground economy.
I'm not so sure, Jeff, I'm not so sure if it would become an underground economy at all, but I think if you look at the premise of 1984 with Orwell's book and the total confiscation of all of our personalities and the total confiscation of our lives, I think that there would have to be somewhat of a revolution. There would have to be something, because I guarantee you this, I would never submit to having an implant put in my body so that the powers that be could monitor me 24/7.
I wouldn't either, and I would fight it tooth and nail, and I know a lot of my friends would too.
Why do you suppose, quickly, and I want some other people to call on this, why do you suppose, and some of the comments that I've read are basically from the 30 and under crowd, the millennial generation, why do you think they're so quick to make an acceptance of this?
Because they've been indoctrinated into them in the schools and stuff that, oh, this is all right, this is okay, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's very scary to me. Jeff, thank you for your call back. I appreciate it.
For you too, Zeb. Have a nice day. Now I can go to bed and get sleep.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. You know, the thing that bothers me is some of these people have said that, oh, well, you can buy airline fares with it. Why, you can go to your local gym with it. Oh, my goodness, yes. It would replace credit cards or keys or things like that, they said. Yeah. I'd rather stand the chance of losing my car keys. I'd rather carry the cash to go buy my groceries. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Only thing I can see outcome of this would be the mark of the beast.
Well, that's what I said earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I was busy with the air wrench earlier, and I didn't hear that.
Well, you mean to tell me an air wrench took precedence over my program?
Well, yes. Customers come in, so I had to take care of him so I could buy some more cup holders to...
God bless you. You know, Doug, why is it today that we would even think about allowing this to happen? What is going on in our society that there are those, again, I'm going with the 30 and under crowd, because most of the people that were interviewed, they, oh, what's the matter with that? It'd make it easier. Why don't they realize what they're doing?
Because they have not been taught history, because you learn from history, and if you rearrange history to where it's not that bad, and it's not, you know, these bad things didn't happen, then they're going to do the bad things all over again. Because Hitler, he branded the Jews. It's basically the same thing, only the brand, you know, you couldn't follow it 24/7, but these implants you can.
I am so concerned that people are becoming so naive and so dumbed down in Wisconsin. Of all states in the heartland of America, they're talking about implanting chips in their systems so that they can buy snacks easier. Don't they realize how insane this is?
Apparently not, Sam. Apparently not. Apparently they think everybody can be trusted.
Oh,
you
boy.
Put these chips in you. I mean, just look at our last president. He couldn't be trusted. And I don't trust this president. I verify and I make sure, you know, he's doing things right.
Well, I think in this day and age, trust and verify is a statement that should be the mantra of all people that love freedom. And quite frankly, my biggest concern about those chips is my whereabouts, what I do, etc., is not one other person's business in a free society. I have never committed any crimes. I don't intend to commit any crimes. But I absolutely will not be monitored by a government that is so untrustworthy that they are not to be trusted themselves.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I'll never do it.
Well,
they'll bury me before... If they want to put one in me, they can put one in me when they bury me, and then they'll know where I'm at.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get up and run away after that either.
No.
Hey, God bless you, man. Good to hear from you, and thank you to you and your wife for all your help at Lunch Bunch.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Great bunch of people, and I'm glad to support it and support you.
I appreciate
everything you do.
Thank you very, very much. God bless you, man. Thanks. What are your thoughts on this? A lot of people, I just am absolutely blown away. They don't think it's any big deal. Holy cow, call me. Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. Caller, I'll be right there in Shoshone. Boy, I'm telling you, this is a country county fair the way it was meant to be. Their theme from pioneer days to modern ways. Oh, my goodness sakes, they're going to have all kinds of fun. And including this week, they've got the Ranch Rodeo on Wednesday night. And then don't forget on Thursday and Friday night, they got the IMPRA Rodeo. Saturday, they're going to have that big tractor pull. They have fun up in Shoshone. Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. All this week, you get up there and really realize what a country county fair should be at Shoshone for the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Yes.
I lived in Cambridge in the early 70s, and there was a big article in the newspaper up there about barcodes and these chip implants and all that stuff that was going to be coming down the line. And I'm not so concerned about us, but it's the newborn babies that I think is going to be implanted, and we're never going to know about it.
You know, hold on, ma'am, because you just brought up something very intriguing to talk about. Let me just state a case, and then I want to get your opinion on this. What would happen, like you just said, the newborn babies at the hospital, if it became standard procedure and we, the parents and grandparents, never knew it, that the hospitals were forced and mandated by the government to do the microchip without the parents' knowledge? Oh, my goodness, how insidious is that?
That's terrible. Yeah, well, we would be gone. So.
Would you ever, though... Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question quickly. If you were at a job and they came to you as the employer and they said, pardon us, but you realize, of course, that you will not receive your next paycheck until you submit to having a microchip put in so that we can verify the time that you spend on the job and maybe going to bathroom breaks or maybe going to buy snacks. We want to know where you are 24/7, 365. What would you honestly do?
That would be tough. It would be hard if you said if I was the employer.
No, if you were the employee.
Oh, employee. You know, I've lived on a lot, not much, for a long time, so I could get by for quite a while. But it's my kids I would be concerned about.
I agree.
They would manage, and yeah, I think for myself personally, I would refuse.
Absolutely. You know, I really respect your phone call this morning, and I hope you'll call me again. You're a very nice lady. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, the lady brought up a very good point. You know, a lot of times people that are honestly living hand to mouth and they're trying to work hard every day for the betterment of their kids, and they're threatened that if you don't take this microchip, you will be fired. That gets a little heavy. And then that changes the complexion of the whole problem. They're being twisted and coerced, and their arms are twisted behind their back. You do this, or you're going to be out of work. What kind of a society is that? Here? In America? Wow. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. That's right. They've got all the Bobcat excavators and all the shapes and the sizes. Don't know how to run one, Bunky? Well, they got a big sandbox out behind the Burley location. They'll teach you. Absolutely. All the equipment rentals and retail equipment sales, everything at Berry Equipment and Rental. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Really good people. Come on, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, I'm going to ask your patience. Just please bear with me 60 seconds. I've got to get a weather forecast on here from Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup. My goodness sakes, your hearing problems might be related to medicine or a disease or some other problem. She can help you, and I'll guarantee you she helped me. And they're located right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. The number to call, 312-0957. Right now, caller, don't go away. I'll be there in a minute. Here's Gina with the weather.
It's going to be a fairly nice day as we start the beginning of the work week. However, as we get on into the evening hours, we might see some rain showers and thunderstorms. Here's your weather forecast for today. Partly cloudy skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 94. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms and rain showers this evening, cloudy skies after midnight. Expecting a low of 62, winds out of the southwest, 10 to 20 miles an hour in the overnight hours. Tomorrow, we are looking at partly cloudy skies, still a slight chance of some rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. High of 84, expecting mostly clear skies, and 60 for Tuesday night. Wednesday looks like partly cloudy skies with a high of 85. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're located across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. Number to call, make an appointment today at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. It seems to me like several years ago I heard that because of what we do with our fingers so much, you know, we use them on our computers and all of the things that we're using our fingers for these days, that it's getting harder and harder and harder to get a fingerprint.
Oh, really?
On a human, especially we Americans. And as I think that the last time I needed to do a fingerprint, I had to get the ink and really press my finger hard because, and I don't do much on a computer anymore. I used to, but I'm old, and as I look at my fingerprints, I'm not sure that could identify me in any way.
You know, Chris, I'm not going to buy into the fact I don't type at all. I mean, I refuse to sit down and waste my time. I think I've got too many. Pardon me?
There has to be another method. You know?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm very concerned that there will be innuendos and, quite frankly, lies by various members in our society that say, oh, well, we can't trust fingerprints anymore, so that's why we have to have the implants. It's just nothing more than a lie. Let me give you a follow-up story that really concerns me, and I'm going to have Deanne do some checking on this. I understand, and again, I'm making this allegedly because I don't know this all to be true, that Visa is offering $500,000 for eateries, restaurants, to stop accepting cash. And it almost is like our society is absolutely pushing us over a cliff to accept these vile Mark of the Beast chips.
Well, I agree. I'd rather hand somebody a bill and pay my bill, $1.20 or whatever, with cash, because I am getting sick and tired of them knowing so much about me. But in case of somebody accidentally having a demise and nobody being able to identify them, that's really kind of sad, and it seems like that's happening a little bit more often these days.
Well, I will never, ever submit to a microchip. We can't let this happen in our society. Chris,
there's got to be a better way.
There has to be. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's like I said at the end of every program. The way things were, the way things ought to be. Don't tell me that modernization and government encroachment in our lives is a better way.
Well, the government is trying to make it easier for themselves to find you.
Absolutely. Chris, God bless you and your family. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, take care. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thanks for taking my call, Zeb. My name is Doug. I think, unfortunately, sad but true, don't underestimate the stupidity of the American people. We, after all, did have Obama for 8 years. And this technology, to quote Star Trek, resistance is futile. That's going to happen. Not you and I. We're too long in the tooth, but this younger generation, they thought it was neato to have the first black president, so what's the next step of stupidity? Sorry to be so blunt, but that's the matter in my opinion.
No, I appreciate your being very blunt and honest and straightforward, because what's said as truth is truth. And I'm very concerned for the younger generation. I'm very concerned for the millennials that they visited about this article. And these kids, 30 and under, they had no clue as to how dangerous this is to basically turn over their personal freedoms and their information to a government that you know as well as I do. Once somebody has that information, they can use it as a very negative point in your life.
True. Just get back to my point, though. I was always told you can't fix stupid.
Amen. God bless you for your call. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
There are other stories that I've got to do some research on here. There are, along with Visa offering $500,000 for restaurants to stop accepting cash, Microsoft wants to unveil a plan to bring the internet to rural areas. Now, that's all well and good. But the more I think about this, and microbiologist Ben Liberton of the Swedish University said that he sees too many potential risks. Data about your health, data about your whereabouts, data about how often you're working, how long you're working, the government, the job, everybody will know every single thing that you do, for how long, and where you are. And he said, too, what happens to this data afterwards? What's it going to be used for? Who's going to be using it? And who's going to be seeing it? And we're going to be living in a world of where we are controlled and looked at and after 24/7, 365. You can go sit in a dark corner of your home and think that no one knows where you are. But yet, they do. They will know that you're cringing in the corner from fear. Because no matter what you do, where you go, or what you buy, they have complete control of you for the rest of your life. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And they have the best of all the tires you need for your automobiles, your cars, pickups, SUVs, everything. And I urge you to stop in there and see them today. If you're planning a trip to Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred's or whatever, you better get in there and make sure that you get where you're going this summer safely. Absolutely. And also the best in brake service. The best in brake service. And I can attest to that. Along with front end alignment, shocks and struts, and all the batteries, they will help you. And they want you to have a safe trip and enjoyable trip this summer. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely the best. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again.
Yes, sir, again.
I just thought of something. It's kind of concerning to me. I have a certain company that supplies me with my television programming and stuff.
Right.
And when we got a TV in the bedroom, and we go to bed at night, we watch certain little shows and relax, and when I turn it on in the morning, I usually turn it on to news while I'm getting ready, and I've noticed that when I turn it off at night, it's on a kind of a comedy channel or a sitcom channel, and when I turn it on in the morning, it's on the news channel that I watch in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And when I turn it on at night, going to bed, it's not on that news channel, it's on the sitcom channel.
Oh, my. You're not inferring that somebody's playing hippity-skippity with your channels, are you?
They're tracking us on every move on a lot of things. And the chip is the final step.
Yeah, but Doug, look at your smartphone. Look at your TV, because there are claims, and we've had stories about how literally, and it sounds so insidious and scary, they can watch you in your home through your own television set. They can track you. They can watch you. They can monitor you. They can make sure you can't make a purchase unless you accept the mark of their beast. I mean, what more is it going to take to have somebody stand up and say enough is enough?
That's exactly right, Deb. It's just like when you start taking things away. You take a straw at a time. Nobody notices, but when you get down those last few straws, a lot of people notice. So that's when it's going to blow up.
I agree.
When it blows up, it's not going to be pretty.
I've got to run to the news. I'm running late, but Doug, God bless you, man. Thank you for your call. Folks, I'm going to run to CBS News right now, and then we'll be back. Next hour, we got Vicky's Country Gardens, and we're going to talk to Greg Walton over at the Minidoka County Fair. Don't miss it. Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be right back. Oh, my. Here we go. Hour number 2 on Monday, July 24th. Oh, goodness. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, and they know you've got all kinds of fun things going on, outdoor concerts and family reunions and special birthdays and weddings, and oh my goodness, there's all the tables that are set for 200 people and all the food is catered, and somebody forgot to rent the porta potties. Oh, you got to have a potty for your party. So call Western Waste Services right now. My goodness, that should be at the top of the list. 734-6969. Always at your disposal and help at Western Waste Services. You call them today. Oh, my goodness sakes. Let's see. What else have I got cooking here? Oh, I want to mention, too, about our friends over at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street, near Hayburn, near the Connection Credit Union, too, by the way. And the number to call is 678-1177. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Now, Dr. Bill and the rest of the crew, I'll tell you what, it's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. And don't forget, please, with this warm weather, if you take your dog or kitty cat around with you in the car, don't shut them in that hot car. Please leave them home instead. Hot cars, no place for dogs and kitty cats. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Hayburn, 678-1177. There you go. We were last hour talking about these implants, computer chip implants that they're going to start at a company back in Wisconsin just to make it easier for the employees to buy snacks. And then I commented that I had a little information about Visa offering up to $500,000 for restaurants to stop accepting cash. Well, my lovely bride found a little bit more information about that, and I really appreciate it. And they're calling it the Visa Cashless Challenge. And the plan is to convince small business restaurants, cafes, etc., to stop accepting cash and force customers to pay with credit cards or digital payments. Now, this really teased me off because I will not stop spending cash unless it's all taken out of our scene. And if I go to some place and I walk up to the register and they say, well, I'm sorry, we don't accept cash, I'm leaving. I'll just walk out of the business. You had better make sure that you continue to take cash. You'd better make sure that you better have all means of payment. And the only reason that they're doing this, honestly, in my opinion, is that naturally credit card companies, they'll have all their processing fees and they'll tack on other charges to businesses, etc. They're making money. They're making more money. This is a scary story, folks, about a small company in Wisconsin that's starting the ball rolling down the alley. And it's a company that wants to offer surgically implanted microchips for their employees to buy snacks. It's opening the door. I'll just come right out and say it. It's opening the door to hell. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, don't forget the Lincoln County Fair and all kinds of different rodeos. Man, they had the junior rodeo last weekend. And this Wednesday, they've got at 7 o'clock the Ranch Rodeo. And oh my goodness, then they're going to have an IMPRA rodeo on Thursday and Friday night. And then great big truck and tractor pull on Saturday. This is really an attention getter because this is a county fair that is like a county country fair should be. It's fun up in Shoshone, and their theme this year, from pioneer days to modern ways, the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. Get up there and meet some of the doggone nicest people you ever met in your life in Shoshone and the surrounding area. It's just a county fair to remember. The Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo all this week. You be sure and get up to Shoshone today. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. What do you think about this as far as a microchip? I mean, a lot of people are going, I don't think that'll ever happen. Well, it is. It is. And this company, by the way, the name is 3 Square Market. It's a company that supplies technology for micro markets, and they're now having their offer to their employees to surgically implant a microchip for the asinine reason of making it easier for them to buy snacks. This is insane. Give me a call. I'd like to hear from you. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to have, of course, the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. That lady knows more about gardening and more about how to spruce up your place on the outside for the decor and everything. So don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. While I have a moment, I also want to mention to you about our friends at Hanson Mortuary. Oh, I tell you what, Joel Heward, his family and his staff, they are so nice, so congenial, so absolutely helpful to the rest of the community. And they're located at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And I was telling you a couple of weeks ago, I was very proud that Joel Heward announced on my program a program called FAMIC. And it's a program helped to gain information about your family so that when there's the passing of a loved one, you know a lot more about them than possibly you ever would have. And it just makes everything come together as a family. I really like that program. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, always treating you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please get a hold of them today. Wonderful people, and they are there to serve you. 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Well, the Big Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame is going to be on the 28th and 29th. Don't forget that at the Canyon Crest Event Center in Twin Falls. And our thanks go to D.L. Evans Banks, our major sponsor, along with Coors Tech Distributing. And on Friday night, we're going to have a Tough Enough to Wear Pink, Give Cancer the Boot party at 5 to 8 p.m. And Saturday night, the induction starting at 5 p.m. social hour and dinner at 6. Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame at the Canyon Crest Event Center. Call Katie for tickets, please, at 733-9392. Right now, it is time for a wonderful segment, Vicky's Country Garden. And a lady that knows all about gardening, knows all about how to raise really good cabbages and carrots and corn, and also how to decorate your place. Good morning to the lovely Miss Vicky at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. How are you?
I'm just fine, Zeb. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood again.
Oh, there she goes, acting like Mr. Rogers. She's going to take off her tennis shoes now.
Well, no, I got sandals on. They're easier to kick off.
Okay. Hey, Vicky, I got to ask you, a lady wrote a letter, and then I'm going to get into some of the subjects that you and Deanne talked about, but a lady wrote a letter, and she said, I've noticed that there are a lot of bite marks on some of my produce that I'm raising in my garden. Should I throw that away, or is it safe if I wash it really good to eat it?
As a rule, you're safe to just kind of cut it out, and usually it isn't. Depends on what's doing the biting. If it's bugs or something, they're usually like wasps will sting some of the apples and suck some of the juice out, which makes a kind of a bruise look on there, and you can just cut through that. If it's them lovely little rodents that are chewing on things, again, you can cut in deep enough and cut that out, and you're fine. Just wash it good. You can cut that out and not waste the fruit. As a rule, you're pretty safe on that.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you that a couple of years ago, I remember on this program, we were absolutely inundated with voles and mice, and it was a terrible, terrible year. I mean, everything was getting eaten in the gardens and everything around the alfalfa fields and all. Is it not as bad this year?
Doesn't seem to be as bad. They're still there, but I think our wet spring and our floods and all that kind of stuff maybe possibly drowned the little suckers and got rid of most of them. But it doesn't seem to be, the farmers aren't complaining quite as bad. They're still there, so they're going to multiply and come back, so be aware of it.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to be as thick as they were last year and the year before, and I think it had to do with so much water and that type of thing, possibly drowned quite a bunch of them.
Okay. I have not noticed nearly, not even close to the numbers that we did a couple of years ago.
And they sometimes get their own natural little disease. Mother Nature sometimes kicks in and helps us a little bit with, when they get overpopulated, she'll kind of thin them back out again by, a disease that kind of kills them off and brings the numbers, they brings the numbers back into perspective again. So hopefully she'll keep working with us.
Okay, now I did have a little note from a listener that said, I really appreciate the fact that a couple of weeks ago you talked about not only the garden, but the gardeners in protecting themselves in the hot weather. Are there any other tips for the gardeners to make sure they don't get heat stroke?
There again, just, try to do your early morning, late evening type situation, get your work done while it's cool, and picking your produce and stuff. We've got fair time coming up. The Minidoka County Fair is going to be starting. People are going to be wanting to put their flowers in. So remember, don't pick your, go through and if you got a spray, get your sprays done, get your flowers looking decent, and do an early morning while it's nice and cool. Do an early morning cut or an early morning pick on your produce. They'll stay a lot fresher because they're crisper. They're nicer if you pick them early in the morning. So kind of set your schedule, get your time frame going, and get your stuff picked and washed and chilled and cooled really early in the morning, so you go into the fairs with them looking good.
Okay. The one thing we talked about mice and rodents a moment ago, but the one thing that there is plenty of, bugs.
Oh yes, and that's going to be a problem for the rest of the season. This has been a real bad year for bugs because we did have such a cool, wet spring, and that's what they absolutely love. They just absolutely, that's when they thrive. the best. And they're out in full force. We're seeing grasshoppers. We've got they're doing a lot of chewing. We've got an awful amount of earwigs that are doing a lot of chewing. So there's just lots of stuff that's trying to eat your stuff before you get to it. So you're going to have to kind of catch up, kind of figure out what kind of chemicals you need, get them down, and stay on it to keep them from outrunning you on the vegetables and that.
That is interesting you brought that up that way, and Wheels, I need to have you watch the gain a little bit. We're getting a little feedback over there. What about knowing how much or too little or way too much is the spraying of herbicides, etc., on your garden? How do you know what is adequate or what might be too much?
Well, that's why they have those little pamphlets, Zeb, on the back of most of those chemicals that have instructions.
Oh, I remember those.
And, you read those little pamphlets, and then you're really confused because you can't figure out what they're talking about. That's why we have a cheat sheet here that as you buy chemicals, we can tell you on our chemicals, our Fertilome and our high-yield products, how much to use so that you don't overdo. You can burn with too much insecticide and too much fungicide, and you're just wasting your chemical and your money if you use too much herbicide. So that old adage of a little does a little good, a lot does a lot of good, that doesn't work.
Oh, okay. So
that's what the instructions are for. But if you're really confused, either bring your stuff in and we'll help you figure it out, or come in and talk to us if it's one of our products, or call us and we can usually tell you.
Okay, and then an obvious question would be, how long after you apply that herbicide, etc., can you actually harvest the crops and eat the crops?
Well, you're not going to put a herbicide on your vegetables because you ain't going to have to worry about harvesting because they're going to be dead.
That's right.
A fungicide or an insecticide.
There you go. I got my fungus and my Among Us and all that kind of disqualified there.
You got your sides mixed up.
Yeah, I did.
But anyhow, your insecticides and your fungicides, as a rule, on most of them you've got about a 5 to 7 day residue, so spray. But most of them, you're not using a systemic, and so the majority of them, if you'll just take and wash the produce really good, you can use about a 10% hydrogen peroxide mix with water and wash your vegetables, and it will neutralize and take care of a lot of the chemicals that could possibly be on the fruit.
Well, one of the things that you and Deanna talked about this morning was something with our tomatoes called blossom rot. Oh, my goodness, that's got an ugly connotation. What's that?
Well, it looks pretty bad, too. Right now, people are noticing they've got blossom end rot. The end of the tomato where the blossom has been attached starts to rot. It is a calcium deficiency. It isn't, it's not a dreaded disease. It's just a calcium deficiency that can be cured real quick and easy. We have a product called Yield Booster that is a foliar calcium spray. And you just spray the plants about every 4 to 5 days for about five times. Puts the calcium right into the plant. Your next set of tomatoes and that will be fine. There won't be any blossom end rot on them.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to kind of turn the ball over to you in your court right now. Is there anything, as we're drawing to the point where people can start harvesting their garden crops and they can start enjoying them? Is there anything else they need to know this time of the year right now with these hot conditions?
Okay, some of your crops are going to need more water, like your corn as it's growing. Corn needs a lot of water. It also needs a nice dose of nitrogen right now to keep it going. If you've got watermelons sitting on, kind of lightly increase your watering up. Make sure they stay nice and damp. Onions are going to need to stay damp. Cucumbers need to stay nice and damp. Not sloppy wet, just damp. Otherwise, your cucumbers they'll get kind of bitter.
Okay.
When you go to pick them and eat them.
Okay.
So, basically, kind of watch your watering. Know your plants. The tomatoes, don't keep them real wet. They'll set their tomatoes on a little faster if you don't keep them just real sloppy wet. Again, they need to just be appropriately watered. Potatoes, you don't want to overwater because then you'll get funky-looking potatoes and scab and all kinds of things on them. So just kind of look at your crops. If you're planting radishes and that and growing radishes, keep them nice and wet. so they don't turn hot and grow, because they're growing really fast right now. So
okay.
just kind of check your garden, check your watering, and just lightly increase a little bit with these hot days. And as the produce starts setting on the plant, it'll need a little bit more water for pumpkins and squash and watermelon and things like that.
Okay, and then of course all their squashes and their pumpkins that we used to grow until they went wild and rampant over here. I'm telling you what, it's a growing time of the year, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it's also a good time to do your little boost of fertilizer right now. The plants are growing hard, they're producing hard. They could definitely use a little boost of energy, so give them a nice fertilization with some good phosphate in it to keep them going and keep them producing.
And for those that are really concerned about eye appeal or eye candy, if you will, of their property, and they want to do some increasing of what the exterior looks like, maybe with some bark and rock and home decor outside the home, you've got all of that over there, don't you?
Oh, we do. We've got the Montana River Rock, which is very pretty and a lot of color. I'm bringing in another semi, splitting a load on some bark, so I'll have fresh bark in. And, we've got all the weed mat. We've got everything that they need, all the different colors of rock and bark and everything to put down to really spruce it up and make it look good. And remember, if you're using herbicides in the heat, be careful not to use them when it's above 85, because they can, unless you're out in a major open area, if you're in your yard, they can volatilize and move in and kill the roses and kill plants and things like that, because they do form a little cloud and kind of move if it's too hot.
Say that again. It just rolled off your tongue so easy. Volatilize.
They could just turn into a little vapor. It gets hot. The chemicals, the heat, the sun, everything, it turns into a kind of a little bit of a vapor, and with just the slightest little breeze, they can move over into some people's roses have shown signs of problems, and 2,4-Ds and Roundup can both do this. So spray early in the morning, let them get settled in and done. But if you're out there at 85, 90 degrees, make sure you're not anywhere close to anything you don't want to kill.
Oh, my goodness. So, in other words, you got to be real careful about neighborly relations, right?
Yes. Neighbors get real ticked off when their stuff starts dying and they haven't sprayed anything.
Well, what else have you got cooking over there at Vicky's Country Garden? What hours are you open now, Vicky?
We are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Saturdays are 10 to 4, and we're closed on Sundays. But we're going to be starting weekly specials, and this week we're doing 25% off of perennials.
25% off on perennials, right?
Yep.
And go ahead.
And then we'll run it through. It'll go through next Saturday, and then we'll start another one on the next week. We'll do something else next week. We haven't decided yet, but we'll figure out something. We got a week to think on it.
You always do. And by the way, of course, you're going to be wrapped up too with the Minidoka County Fair, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm involved over there, and we want to encourage everybody to come over and see us. It's a fun fair. You get to see people you haven't seen in years.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking to the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. Vicky, God bless you, and have a wonderful day, and don't lose your flip-flops.
Oh, I won't. And tell Deanne I'm going to go pick zucchini for her in the morning.
I'll tell her that. As a matter of fact, she's sitting right here in the office with me. Thanks, Vicky.
All right.
Bye-bye. Deanne, private message. Vicky said she's going to pick zucchini for you in the morning. There you go. Got it done. Oh, let's see. What else have I got? Oh, I want to remind you about where the fun is sold. That's Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. And they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And believe me, they've got all the watercraft. I can't think of anything more fun on a hot day than heading for the lake or the river on a watercraft. Cool fun. And they've got all the 4x4s, and they've got the side-by-sides. Oh, my goodness sakes. Along with all the accessories and a super service department. My goodness, you better stop over there today. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It is where the fun is sold. Absolutely. By the way, too, if you're over in that neck of the woods, you know about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Wow. You talk about professionals that really care, and they know all about life insurance and health insurance and retirement planning and employee benefits, and they are absolutely dedicated and responsive to your needs. So please, all you need to do is have the initiative to make sure that you're protected. Call for an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really, really nice people. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, we are in the middle of, well, not really the middle, but the onset of all the county fairs. I mean, some are underway and some are going to be starting here in a little bit. Holy cow, it's hard to think our summer is already at that point. And I'm really honored to have this gentleman come on our program this morning with the Minidoka County Fair, and that's Greg Walton. Greg, good morning. How are you?
Good, Jeff. How are you doing today?
I am fantabulous. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about Greg Walton and what your job is with the Minidoka County Fair.
You know what, Zeb? I am a man with many hats. My wife says I don't know how to tell people no, and so that fair is so important to me, Zeb. I used to work at the fairgrounds. I love to see it grow, and we are growing every year, Zeb. It just gets better and better.
Well, now give us the exact dates of all the fun over there at the Minidoka County Fair. Tell us when it starts and what's going to happen.
All right, so we are a week out, Zeb. This time next week, we will be in full fair swing. Monday night starts out with the lawnmower races at 6 o'clock. Tuesday night, we've got the PMT concert, the Robbie Walden Band, at 7 o'clock. That's going to be in the racetrack grandstand, Zeb, south, on the south side of the fairground. Plenty of parking. People get there early. It's going to be shaded up. Good band. Wednesday night, we've got the Lions Barbecue. That's always good feed there. Talk to any of the Lions members if you want some tickets for that. After that is done, the Fair Board does a free, yeah, Zeb, I said free, ice cream and cobbler social.
Wow. And that is going to be good.
You got to be there.
Who's going to make all the cobbler, by the way?
The Fair Board.
Wow.
All the cobblers. I think they've got 16, like 36-inch Dutch ovens that they fill clear full of cobbler. We get the ice cream donated from the Idaho Dairymen's Association, I believe. And it's a good time.
Oh,
free
my.
Cobbler, free ice cream, under the pavilion, in the shade. You can't beat it.
Well, it sounds like...
And during the Lions Barbecue and the ice cream.
Oh, my
it's free
goodness.
Entertainment.
Absolutely. Now, on Thursday, tell us a little bit about Thursday, the Junior Rodeo for a lot of great junior cowboys and cowgirls.
Yes, so now we're talking about growing. This is it. We actually extended. This year, we have to start. We've got so many people entered up. This junior rodeo has grown so much. We're going to do junior rodeo Wednesday night and Thursday night, Zeb. So call the Fair Board office if you want to get your kids entered up. You have to pick one night or the other. You can't do both nights. But find out which night's going to work best for you and your family. Get entered up in that.
Okay. Now, Greg, one thing I want to mention is that naturally you're going to have a good rodeo over there, an open rodeo on Friday and Saturday. Tell us a little bit about some of the certain specifics that really pertain to Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo.
Okay, so a few years back, Zeb, we went to an open rodeo. We wanted to change a few things, and the only way we could do that is if we put it on ourselves. We did. The people like it, and it's gone gangbusters. Now, if you want to get entered up in that, you've got to enter up the 26th and 27th. Get a hold of Kathy Long between 6 and 10 p.m. Her number is 208-654-2462, Zeb. Now, for all these guys that are debating on whether they want to enter up or not, we've got $500 added to the stock saddle each night. $1,000 added to the rough stock and $800 added to the timed event.
Wow. So there's going to be quite a bit of change going to be going into somebody's pocket over there at the Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo this year.
Yes, sir. You want to win a little money, this is going to be the place to be.
You know, Greg, tell us a little bit about some of the specialty items that you have. Friday night of your rodeo, you're going to have the Man Up Crusade. I think a lot of people are not aware as to what this is and what's going to happen.
Okay, Zeb. They came to us here a few years ago, and of course we had to support it. The Man Up Crusade is for battered women, domestic violence, that kind of thing. So wear your purple. We've supported them. They've got a great cause going. They're just trying to help out people that need to be helped, Zeb, and we want to step up in our community and show our support and help them out.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I want to stop right there is they're going to have the Grandma Rodeo Queen contest. What in the world is that all about?
Zeb, you've never heard of that before, have you? Not many people have. And that's something that's been done at Rupert for years and years and years. It's people nominate their grandma queens that have been involved in our fair, and we pick one every year and pay a special tribute to that nice lady, that nice grandma that has bent over backwards for all of her kids and grandkids and helped out with the fair, helped out with 4-H or FFA or rodeo, or we've had all sorts of different people involved in that. So if you have a grandma and you want to get her nominated, you need to get those in to Leanne probably in the next day or so. I believe we've got to pick that out here shortly.
Let me ask you, Greg, is it limited to just grandmas in Minidoka County?
You know, I don't think they have to live in Minidoka County, Zeb. They do need to be involved in Minidoka County.
Okay.
We're trying to honor these special ladies that have put in all that time and effort in our county. Of course, our fair theme this year is County Pride countrywide. So we want to do that, and we want to honor these special ladies.
Okay, now I also want to ask you, because I heard rumors that you're going to have a real wild and woolly cow riding contest.
Oh, yeah, we do that every year. And let me tell you what, we import these cattle. They are not your run-of-the-mill, nice, old milk-made cows. These will eat your lunch, and it's always good watching. But we are having a hard time getting some of these guys to enter up. I don't know if we made it too hard for them or what, Zeb, but we always have a few teams that will come out there and try it. But, you know, if you think you and your buddies want to step up and see if you can wrangle one of these old cows, you need to get entered up for that.
All right. And one other thing I wanted to mention, that Leanne sent me a note saying that you're going to have a traveling trophy this year, sponsored by the Dick Seal family in memory of his rodeo career, and that goes to the winner of the saddle bronc riding. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That started last year, Zeb. I believe Mitch Pollock is the current holder of that trophy. Great guy. And they're just trying to commemorate him, and it's a neat deal. The trophy is way, way cool. I mean, it's something that you win that, it's definitely going to give you some bragging rights for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the 4-H all week. I mean, you're going to have, I understand, open class, 4-H buildings, merchant buildings. Give us a little example of what a great county fair, Minidoka County Fair, is going to be.
Deb, I tell you what, back to the growing deal. We've got more kids in our county doing more projects. Our poultry program has grown huge. Our turkeys have grown huge. Pigs, we're maxed out on pigs. We got to steal sheep pens. Sheep kids, they still keep growing too, so we've had to build more pens. This year, the 4-H and the Fair Board all stepped up and bought some new goat pens. We've got market goats, Zeb. We've got beef cattle. We got dairy cattle. We've got the 4-H open class. We've got the merchant building. We've got the antique building. We've got the McGregor building with all the garden projects that Vicki was just talking about, quilting, woodworking. There was a saddle making deal last year. A guy entered a saddle. Zeb, there's tons of stuff to see. I know I'm going to miss stuff, and I feel bad, but you got to get these people out there, Zeb. We got to encourage them to come out. It is a true old-time county fair. Come out. The food is excellent. We've got a shaded picnic area there. You get your food, you sit down, you visit with your friends. Just like Vicki said, some of these people I only see once a year, and I always see them at the fair. And it's great to catch up, sit down, and have a steak or a hamburger or some French fries, a scone, cinnamon rolls, cotton candy. I mean, anything you can think of, Zeb, it's there.
You know, and Greg, share with us again the importance of all the cowboys that are listening this morning that want to enter this open rodeo that's going to take place on the 4th and the 5th. And Kathy Lom's number, the entries, everything, because the entries open up, what is it, in 2 days on the 26th, correct?
Yes. Yeah, Zeb, they open up. Entries are July 26th and 27th between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. And Kathy's number again, get your pens out, boys, 208-654-2462.
Okay. And what's the theme of this year's Minidoka County Fair, Greg?
Our fair theme this year is County Pride countrywide.
There you go. Well, by golly, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the Minidoka County Fair? I got to hand it to you. You've got so much enthusiasm. People are ready to stand at the gates and buy a ticket right now.
That's perfect, Deb. That's what I want. You know I'm missing stuff. We got the antique tractor pulls on Saturday. Those start at 1 o'clock. Don't forget, of course, I'm a big member of the 4-H and FFA livestock fat stock sale. Our community steps up huge for these kids. And I encourage anybody out there, if you've got to buy new clothes or some show supplies for your kids for fair, go to these places. If you're looking for refrigerators, furniture, cars, trucks, irrigation supplies, these are the businesses that step up and support our kids. Please stay in our area and support these businesses.
Wow. I tell you what, with your enthusiasm, I know that this year's Minidoka County Fair is going to be a great success, and it's going to run July 31st through August 5th. Holy cow, Greg, you're a great salesman for the event.
Well, Zeb, I truly, I'm not trying to sell it. It's just near and dear to my heart. My kids are involved. My family's been there for years. I've got good friends and family that work hard all year long just to put this fair on, and I want to see people come out and appreciate it and enjoy it. That's what we want. We just want people to come out and enjoy it, Zeb.
Absolutely. Well, I want to tell you what a great job you did here this morning. Thanks again for your effort of coming on the program. Greg Walton, thank you, sir, and we'll be talking to you again real soon. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Zeb. Take care.
All right, thank you. Wow, did you hear the enthusiasm in his voice and talking about the various fun things that are going to be going on at the Minidoka County Fair for this year? Absolutely. And I just think that you need to get a hold of those folks and find out more about all their schedules, etc. I'm just looking to see if there's a number to call right here on my sheet. But you can call over, excuse me, to the Minidoka County Fair office, and they'll give you all the information about everything from the lawnmower races all the way through to the junior rodeo, the open rodeo, tractor pull, everything at the Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo. Absolutely good. Let's see, what else have we got? We've got time to take a couple of phone calls this half hour, and I welcome those phone calls. So give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We talked about this a couple of days ago, and it seems like this insidious movement of promoting transgenderism in our school system over normal children and families is getting worse. And right now, the Minnesota Department of Education is approving what they call a toolkit to help transgender students. Now remember, the minimal numbers of the transgender students, as opposed to the hundreds and hundreds in various school districts or thousands of families that are against this, it's being forced upon them. A Minnesota Department of Education Advisory Council voted to approve what's called a new toolkit. for safe and supportive schools for transgender and gender nonconforming students. And they did this in a room the other day, last Wednesday, with over 200 opponents cramming themselves into this room to say, no, we do not want this in our school system. No, we do not want this taught to our children. And I'd like to know your thoughts about this, because it seems like it's getting bigger and bigger. And one parent said, sadly, this toolkit undermines my authority as a parent, and this toolkit encourages teachers to teach false conceptions of gender to my students, my children, and I'm against it. What are your thoughts? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Everything for the minorities. Everything for the liberalness. Everything for anti-Christian teachings. It's time to put our foot down. Weather forecast brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, CPAs that have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. My goodness, the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, and so much more. 2 locations, Burley and Rupert. Get a hold of them today, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Going to be a fairly nice day as we start the beginning of the work week. However, as we get on into the evening hours, we might see some rain showers and thunderstorms. Here's your weather forecast for today. Partly cloudy skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 94. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms and rain showers this evening, cloudy skies after midnight. Expecting a low of 62, winds out of the southwest, 10 to 20 miles an hour in the overnight hours. Tomorrow, we are looking at partly cloudy skies, still a slight chance of some rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. High of 84, expecting mostly clear skies, and 60 for Tuesday night. And Wednesday looks like partly cloudy skies with a high of 85. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And she always does a great job. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. As I said, CPAs that have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. Locations in Burley and Rupert, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Your turn. Open forum. Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. I absolutely am against anything promoting what I call sick, perverted sexual activities within our school systems. And I just absolutely think one of the big words I'm going to employ on this program is ignore. I'm going to ignore their movements. I'm going to ignore what they want. I'm going to ignore when people like Bruce Jenner come out and say, well, I want to be called Caitlyn from now on. No, to me, you're going to be called Bruce Jenner. God did not make any mistakes. And we only have the 2 genders. They can sit there and they can come up with all this balderdash, like in New York City. I could be wrong. I think it might even be more, but there's 48 different genders that they want recognized. And if you make a mistake and you make reference to the wrong gender, they're trying to make an imposition in a law that maybe you could be fined, for Pete's sakes. There are only 2 genders, male and female. And I will never support on this radio program the relevance of what they're trying to do. I'm going to ignore their movement. I'm not going to change the names, like Bradley Manning calling him something else. I'm not going to do that. Bruce Jenner calling him something else. I'm not going to do that. I want to hear your thoughts on this. It's time that maybe ignorance is bliss. Ignore, and maybe we can lessen the degree of how they're trying to take over society. Absolutely will not. Wording in this draft in Minnesota recommends that school officials ask before assuming a student's name. Ask before they assume a gender identity or a pronoun, and they should not exclude students from activities based on how the students, identify. You talk about a wreck looking for a place to happen. What are you, Johnny? Well, I'm not Johnny. I'm Susie, and I'm going to play on the boys' basketball team, or vice versa. This is an absolute chaotic atmosphere that's permeating itself in some of the larger cities and schools all across the United States. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to also remind you about Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. The number to call, 436-3200. They make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place, and they're the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area. So please write the number down and call. And they take their residents to the community events, as the Wilson Theater, and of course all the different activities outside. They just want to make sure that your loved one really enjoys Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. Number to call, 436-3200. I'll repeat that, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. All right, your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline, and we will talk about anything you want to talk about for this half hour. Come on, quickly, get on the line, give me a call. Little public service note here. The annual Community Ice Cream Social at the Rupert United Methodist Church is going to take place on Sunday, August 13th at 6 p.m. There is nothing more fun than going to an ice cream social, and it's going to be at the Rupert United Methodist Church, 605 H Street, and it's going to be on the front lawn. They're going to have homemade ice cream and cakes. Oh, that brings back a lot of memories from back in Wisconsin. Yeah, my grandma Richter, and before my grandfather passed away, I used to go into their house. It was right across the street from the park. And every week during the course of the summer, they'd have a great big band in the bandstand, and they'd have all the cherry and the peach pies and all the cakes and the ice cream, and they had old-fashioned ice cream socials every week. It was really phenomenal. Well, this one's going to take place at the Rupert United Methodist Church, homemade ice cream and cake at 605 H Street on the front lawn on August 13th at 6 p.m. Everybody is welcome, and they're going to have entertainment there by David and Melissa Bowman, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Nothing better than an old-fashioned ice cream social in the summertime. All right, your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This story about Charlie Gard, little baby over in England, is probably going to come to its conclusion in the next couple of days. The court is deciding whether or not the little baby Charlie Gard lives or dies, and is that the kind of a world that we are turning into, where the courts are going to make decisions about our children's, their life and their death? And I understand by listening to the newscast the last hour that the family basically has given up on the fight to try to bring the baby here to America. And it just doesn't look like there's any hope for this family trying to do all they can to try to make a better health problem go away, and maybe find some doctors that know something about his disease, which they have termed incurable. And you can't blame those parents for wanting to try for the best for their son. You certainly can't blame the mom and the dad for going to any expense to try to save their little boy, Charlie Gard. And I naturally do not know the mom and the dad. I do not know little Charlie Gard, but my heart goes out to them. Can you imagine how gut-wrenching and devastating it would be to have your child with an incurable disease, supposedly incurable, and you want to try to exhaust every single resource to try to save or make better the health of your child. And then the courts step in, and the government steps in, and they are the stumbling block for a parent to try to do the best for their child. We live in a sick, upside-down world, and I worry about what the future bodes for parents. I worry about the involvement of government saying, yes, you will live, no, you will die. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's really a scary situation right now in the world, and I pray for the Gard family. Like I said, I know you don't know them, I don't know them, but what they're going through in watching the life ebb away of their baby boy, Charlie, it's got to be the saddest thing in the entire world. We have, coming up next hour, some really good guests. We're going to be talking to Dr. Dennis Durrell, and we're going to be talking about health care. Where in the world are we on health care? Where are we with the Republican Party? Where are we with the Democrats? Where are we on the replacement and the getting rid of and throwing away of Obamacare? We're going to talk to him about that. Then at 10:30 this morning, we're going to have a man that's been on our program many times in the past, Dan Perkins, and he's going to be talking about this insane awarding of $8 million to a killer Muslim terrorist from Canada, and how the terrorist got $8 million and the soldier's family didn't get a dime. Absolutely ridiculous. All of that coming up in the next hour, so don't you go away. Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday, and we are proud because we're broadcasting from America, the best country in the world, bar none. Wheels, take it away with some music. We'll be back in about 7 minutes with more. Welcome back on a Monday. My goodness, we're back in the saddle and riding all week long on Zeb at the Ranch. Glad to have you with us, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Once again, I want to remind you that on Thursdays we have a program segment called Cassia County School Days, and that's at 10:10 on Thursdays, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Don't forget now, they've already got in the brand new selection of fall clothing. I know it's right around the corner, and they've got all the learning books, and they've got all the baby toys, the baby furniture, etc. at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. And find out more about how they can save you money on your outpatient surgeries. Please call them today, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center, along with the Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and we're very honored to have this gentleman back on our program. He's a physician and National Medical Director of Acute Services for IPC Healthcare, and author of the book called Your Healthcare Playbook, Winning the Game of Modern Medicine, Dr. Dennis Durrell. Dennis, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the program, and I guess I'm going to start off our conversation this way. I, as a taxpayer, am absolutely incensed against my party, the Republican Party, for a do-nothing, pass-nothing, get-nothing-done attitude on health care. What is going on with these guys? They wanted to condemn and repeal Obamacare, but nothing is getting done. What's going on?
Well, I agree. I'm frustrated like you are, but I like to use the analogy of climbing Mount Everest, basically. So think about this. There's only one way to get to the top. Imagine if all the other routes were closed, and that's a narrow passage, and that's called reconciliation. So Mitch McConnell can only do things to get to the top of this summit by going through narrow things, and that really limited what they could do. Secondly, think about the many senators climbing that mountain tied together on a rope. Some are on the right, some are on the left of the party. So as you move one way, you save someone from falling off, but you pull someone else off when you do it, if you could imagine. So it's really a treacherous path. It's been difficult for them to try to do. But the bottom line is the people that are really on the cliff are patients and what's happening with this bill. So I agree with you. They have to do something to give relief now, and I hope that they're going to continue to try to do that.
When you look at what they're proposing with this new Affordable Care Act in opposition to what the Obamacare bill was, what do you see as pitfalls or what do you see as pluses?
Well, first of all, the Affordable Care Act should never have taken 15 million people and put them on Medicaid. That was a flaw. It turned out to have a lot of problems with it. And I think that one of the key parts of the Senate bill is that it takes those patients even down to zero poverty level. It puts them in the exchanges and gives them a subsidy like anyone else. In fact, right now, in states that didn't expand Medicaid, they don't get a subsidy or Medicaid. They're basically locked out. So I think that's one of the key flaws. The second thing the Senate bill does is the Cruz Amendment allows people to buy plans that are a lot smaller, a lot thinner, and include exactly what they want, a flexible, smaller plan. And I think that was a problem. When you make everyone have so many benefits, then you're going to drive up the cost, and that's another issue. And then finally, I think that because of the instability of the markets, insurers started to get out and prices went up. And I think the money that they put towards stabilizing insurance companies, although like Rand Paul, I don't think it's a long-term solution. It's a solution now to help at least stabilize the market. So I think those three key elements are great parts of the bill. I think they need to do a couple of other things, but I think they're moving down the right path.
Yeah, but Dr. Durrell, I go back to my first point initially. It's been said for years during the Obama administration what they wanted to do, they being the Republicans, to repeal it and throw it away and come up with a better plan. You know, when you step onto a football field, you better have a game plan when they have the kickoff or it's too late, and the Republicans are wasting time that they'll never get back.
Well, you're absolutely right. Look, if I were doing the Monday morning quarterback, and that's what actually President Obama said after he failed on the launch of the exchange, if I'm Monday morning quarterback in the Republicans, they had a lot of time to do this. They had a lot of policy experts from the Cato Institute, the American Enterprise Institute, other conservative thinkers and intellectuals in health policy to come to the table. Things were put out there, and when they really got in the game, they didn't have the right game plan. So that is true. But I think that they've been trying to do the right thing. I just feel like they're not going to have the will to do it. And in the end, I think if they worked with Democrats or if they didn't, I really don't care now. I think something has to be done because patients have premiums that are too high and they can't afford the deductibles. And I think inaction is not the right answer. So I agree. We have to do something.
And I'm going to say this, and I think the last time you were on my show we talked about this point, but I want to reiterate it again. If they fail, if they mess this up, I'm afraid that the door that's going to be left available to open is single-payer insurance, and I think at that juncture, our health care and our caring for people in this country goes right down the drain. Am I wrong?
You are absolutely right. So I'm going to come out and say it. I've said it before. Single payer is not the right answer for the United States of America. They tried it in Vermont, as you recall. They were $30 billion short. They tried it in California. They were $400 billion short. 160 million Americans get their insurance through their worker. You'd have to unwind that entire system. And then you would lose competition, innovation, and choice. There's a reason we are the best healthcare system in the world. Those things would go away. Absolutely, we can't go down that road. And you're completely right. And I think there are risks of not doing something and then just basically saying, okay, that didn't work and you couldn't get it done, so let's push harder. The Democrats will eventually push for that in a hard way. They've had trouble uniting against with that.
You know, Dr. Durrell, one of my biggest concerns is the competition factor. And I see so many companies that are just ready to throw in the towel and say, I'm quitting. I'm out of here. Adios. And when I look at this great country of America and I read stupid letters that are in our paper locally and then others in national publications like the USA Today, and people that are really naive and have not looked at this single payer and the problems that it would cause, and they say things like, and this was a quote in one of the papers, we need a non-profit system that is fair to all our citizens, but which will give fair profits to doctors, hospitals, etc. You know, when you consider what in the world is a fair profit, who has the right to determine what's a fair profit, and what about research for all the diseases? You go to a single-payer type insurance program, and I think we're going to see absolutely devastation in our health care.
I couldn't agree more. Who's going to be the grand designer of all those different parameters that they just laid out there? Fairness and fair profit and equal access. I mean, are you kidding me? There's another thing to think about here. Remember, insurance isn't health care. There are people that have gained insurance through Medicaid expansion, and even in states, only 50% of those people went and got health care. Only 50% saw a doctor. So you can give someone access. Doesn't mean they're going to go and get health care. And just because you make universal health care available, it doesn't mean patients are going to run and go do it. We have to do a lot more than just give someone an insurance card. And I think single payer is not the answer. You're going to lose the innovation that really drives our healthcare system.
Yeah, not only that, but I want to get back to the research aspect of this. You being a doctor, you can relate to this. But if you take away the incentives for somebody to really get involved in cancer research or kidney disease research or heart disease, whatever, I mean, you're going to see the tent just collapse from the middle. I mean, you've got to have the incentives out there for people to want to get into medicine and try to help people.
Well, you're right. Although I'm going to point you in the direction. A lot of the basic science research comes out of NIH, and it does come out of universities. What drug companies do is look at that very raw research and actually turn it into a product, a drug that someone could take. That's the part where people need to take the risk. And that's where the incentive is in our country for companies to spend $1 billion to develop something to help patients. So you're absolutely right. There's a reason that we develop all the major breakthrough drugs in the world, and other countries take advantage of that. But I couldn't agree more. We need to maintain that incentive in our system.
One of the groups of our society that I'm very concerned about, because I'm up there with them now, are the elderly, and I'm concerned that a health care plan, if you will, devised by either party, might make it so cost prohibitive for the elderly and kind of a hemlock society. Oh, well, you're old, just go die someplace. Is that a concern of yours also?
Well, I think it is a concern because you got to think about it. I mean, when the average person pays into Medicare approximately $70,000, but by the end of their life, obviously people who are living longer, they end up spending $270,000. Then we have a problem. There's no doubt. You can do the math. And then if 10,000 people turn 65 every day, we have a compounded problem. And so I couldn't agree more. The one thing I will say is the Affordable Care Act did put in some models of care that are innovative to increase quality and reduce cost. And I think some of those programs are helping, and they're specifically with Medicare. So I think there are going to be some ways to cut costs. But we will have to make some decisions about care in the future. But a lot of people would like to use more Medicare Advantage, where patients get a little more autonomy to pick and shop around, and I think that is going to help pricing in the end.
From your standpoint, Dr. Durrell, do you have any concrete ideas on how the Medicaid program should be reconstructed? One of the things I remember I told you the last time when you were on the program, I said they should have a city-by-city, county-by-county check of every file of every person on Medicaid to see if they're legitimate or if we have leeches in the system. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think you shouldn't have people on the system that don't belong there. Absolutely right. I agree with that. However, on the other side of the coin, and I think that both the Affordable Care Act and the Senate bill actually has that checked every 6 months. And so I think there are checks in that system. I'm more concerned with the fact that you take patients and you give them Medicaid, and then they go to find a specialist or a doctor, and nobody will take them. And so we're spending money on patients to be in Medicaid, and they're not getting health care. So I favor what Arkansas did, move them into private subsidized insurance and give them access to care. And at the end of the day, I believe that's going to ultimately save more money than Medicaid, in my opinion, because they're going to actually get what I consider access to care.
You're a very knowledgeable man about health care, but if you were asked this afternoon at 3 o'clock to be the head of a board to study the new plan, what would you do to say, okay, boys, this is the way we're going to do it, this is how it's going to work? What would you, Dr. Durrell, do to make sure this program is going to work?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would separate the kinds of Medicaid. I would say, look, the disabled, for children and the elderly that are in Medicaid, the regular Medicaid, what it was since 1965, I would separate that out. I probably would cut that at a much slower rate. I would take everybody in Medicaid expansion and I would move them into private subsidized insurance, exactly as this bill is doing. And all of a sudden, those senators that are sitting there saying, I want to protect Medicaid, they would get the protections that they want, and they'd be giving their own states better care. So look at Senator Heller in Nevada. A study in his state showed that 50% of the time Medicaid patients couldn't even get an appointment. He'd be a hero by moving to this model. So that's the first thing I would do. And the second thing I would do is I'd make sure the Cruz Amendment is in the bill, which it is, and I would tell states, look, these things are going to reduce premiums. I might give a little more cost sharing to this lower income group and maybe patients over 50. And I think if they did those few moves, I think that, you're going to see a bill that was a good thing for most people.
Are they listening to people like you that work with this every day? Are they taking notes? Are they understanding what the real problems are? Or are these politicians with their wingtip shoes and three-piece suits that are just ignoring the people that know?
Well, let me say that I have given advice, and I've met with people on the House side, and I did go to the Doctors Caucus in Washington and meet with the Republican doctors, and I think they took my suggestions. And secondly, I have reached out to some people in the Senate, and there's been some possibility of us having some dialogue, and we'll see how that goes this week. So to be absolutely transparent, I have tried to give input. Some has been taken, and I'm still working on some.
Let me ask you a little bit about your book, your healthcare playbook, Winning the Game of Modern Medicine. You know, this sounds like a book that ought to be in everybody's home. Everybody should read it because really today it's kind of a Russian roulette trying to make sure that everybody can stay healthy and get what they need, correct?
That's exactly right. I mean, I didn't write this book to become any kind of famous author. I wrote this book because I have unique knowledge about all these things, and I'm a doctor. And I saw how patients in my own family are either harmed or left out in the cold or don't know how to make insurance decisions or stuck with out-of-pocket bills. And so I wrote this book. And I think from the beginning to the end of this book, you will get amazing information that will help you now and in the future. And I recommend it for everyone because everyone's going to face this or they have a loved one that does. and it's chock full of information. You could literally take it to the hospital with you and open it up and follow what it says to be safe in the hospital. So thank you for saying that, and it was a labor of love. It really was.
When you say to be safe in the hospital, there's an inference there that maybe they don't have all the information, the patients, that they should have, regardless of the medical, surgical operation or the conditions of the hospital. What does the book try to tell them?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the entire middle section of the book is staying safe in the hospital. The first thing it says is take what I call an agent, like an NFL agent who's got your back. You take an agent with you, a neighbor, a loved one, a friend. Having another set of eyes there is so helpful. A lot of things happen fast in the hospital. People come in and say, you're going to go for this test or that test or take this medicine. And when anything is going too fast, have your agent there and do what I say. Call a timeout. Literally put a T with your hands like a timeout and say, I need to think about this, and so slow things down. And I think those are two key elements. And then finally, in every hospital room, there's a big whiteboard. Make sure you write all the information down. Who are your doctors? Where am I going today? What's important to me? What's the most important thing from my standpoint? And make sure everyone that walks in looks at that. I think those are some key things to stay safe.
Why isn't there a liaison with the hospital themselves working with the patients and or their care supervisor to make sure all the questions are asked and all the T's are dotted, I's are dotted and the T's are crossed? Why isn't the hospital providing more information?
Well, the reason is that they're so busy and they're moving so fast and there's so many people involved that they'd have to add a whole other layer of people just to do what you said, these coordinators. Now, hospitals are starting to do that once you leave the hospital to kind of keep you from coming back and getting readmitted. But there's so many moving parts in the hospital, they kind of see the nurse as having that role. The fact is there's a nurse, a therapist, and 4 doctors seeing you. And, there's just too many people to have that one conduit. And that's why your agent has to be that person collecting all the information, making sure that everyone stays on the same page.
So basically what you're saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Dr. Durrell, but people need to be more responsible for their health care and ask questions, ask pointed questions, and demand that they get the right answers, correct?
Absolutely. And if it were a perfectly safe situation, that'd be fine. Maybe you wouldn't need that layer, but no, don't take anything for granted. You're not in a safety bubble in that hospital. You must be empowered. Speak up about what's important to you so that you don't get some things done that don't meet your goals. And if you think something isn't right, speak up. Things happen. I'm saying hospitals are amazing. They do great things. But until they get much safer, you need to be empowered. And there's nothing wrong with that. And take it in your own hands, because you could be the last line of defense, as I say in my book.
Let me ask you one final thought here real quick. How do you go about picking that person to be your health and welfare person to represent you in the hospital? Just a loved one or what? I would like somebody that's a junkyard dog that's going to demand answers.
I think that's a great... So take that person, Obviously, my wife was in the hospital. She had the fortune of me being her advocate, which, I know a lot about the system. So you don't need that. Take the person that knows you, that's not afraid to speak up, that is not intimidated in a healthcare situation, that has your back, and those are the key elements. It could be a spouse. It could be a friend. It could be someone in healthcare that is a friend of yours that's willing to do it. And if you don't have anyone, there's professional advocates, as I talk about in my book. You can hire them to come and do it for really complex cases. So any one of those would be good. But you're right. Please get someone that's going to get in there and challenge things. Don't get someone that's timid.
All right. Now, where can they find this book, Your Healthcare Playbook? Where can it be found?
Best place is just go to Amazon, and you can also order it off my website, DennisDurrellMD.com, and follow me on Twitter, @DrDurrell, because I'm thinking a lot about this healthcare debate, and this is going to be a very important week.
No, I'm telling you, I really appreciated your taking the time to come on our program. Dr. Dennis Durrell and his book, Your Healthcare Playbook, Winning the Game of Modern Medicine. Dennis, please come back in the future and be on our program again. I would really appreciate it.
Anytime. It's been my pleasure. Take care.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Very knowledgeable man, very nice man, Dr. Dennis Durrell, and his book called, again, Your Healthcare Playbook, Winning the Game of Modern Medicine. We all need to be more demanding. I'm serious. More demanding about our health care. Why am I taking this pill? What do you want to do this procedure for? And we need to ask questions until we're happy and satisfied with the answer. And like he said, have somebody as an advocate in case all of a sudden you can't ask those questions. Somebody needs to find out what and why they're doing a certain treatment on you. We're going to take a little break, but before I do, I want to remind you about the Minidoka County Fair. We had Greg on the phone with us this last hour. Man alive, he told us a lot about the Minidoka County Fair. They're going to be running all the way from July 31st through August 5th. My goodness, country pride countywide at the Minidoka County Fair. And they're going to have on Monday the 31st, they're going to have the world-famous lawnmower races. I chuckle because, man, they are wild and woolly. And then they're on Tuesday going to have the Tiny Tot Gymkhana. On August 1st, August 2nd, the Antique Engine Show. I'm kind of skipping through these as fast as I can. Thursday, August 3rd, Junior Rodeo. Friday and Saturday, the Open Rodeo. Oh, my goodness. And all kinds of different events. By the way, cowboys and cowgirls, don't forget entries for the rodeo, the Minidoka Open Rodeo, will be taken by Kathy Lom on the 26th and 27th this week, 6 to 10 p.m., and the number to call is 654-2462. Very nice lady, very, very efficient secretary, Kathy Lom. All of this at the Minidoka County Fair. Right now, we're going to send it back over to Wheels at our main studio, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes with more Zeb at the Ranch.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
You know, I'm really, really fortunate to have our next guest on the program again with us this morning, Dan Perkins, and we're going to introduce him to you momentarily, so stand by for that. First, I want to remind everybody about the Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame. Great big ceremonies on July 28th and 29th at the Canyon Crest Event Center in Twin Falls. On Friday night, the 28th, they're going to have a Tough Enough to Wear pink, and that's Give Cancer the Boot. Percentage of the proceeds goes to breast cancer awareness for the St. Luke's Foundation. $10 entry fee from 5 to 8 p.m., and it's going to be a lot of fun with our friends, Coors, your tech distributors, on Friday night, the 28th. Then on Saturday night, the 29th, Hall of Fame induction, 5 p.m. social hour, dinner at 6. Tickets are $25, honoring our rodeo legends here in the state of Idaho. And our thanks to D.L. Evans Bank statewide. Thank you for all your support. For tickets, contact Katie at the Canyon Crest Event Center at 733-9392. The Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame, July 28th and 29th. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and with us is the man. Yes, sir.
I was just going to let you know that I'm not able to get a hold of him right now, but I am still trying to. I've tried a few times. But
well, you just continue trying then, please, okay? All right, buddy. Sir. Thank you much. Well, it looks like we have a little problem trying to get a hold of Dan, and hopefully we can rectify that situation. Deanne, if you know any other number to call him at, I'd appreciate it. And until we do, give us a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. So a little time on our hands here this morning as we try to find, I think I threw it in that sheet over there, Deanne, if you wouldn't mind. While I'm waiting, we have third annual Summer Hawaiian Luau is going to take place at the Minidoka County Senior Center. It's going to be on Saturday, August 19th at 5 p.m. in the park, and that's right next to the building. They're going to have a Hawaiian menu, and they're going to have entertainment, and they're going to have raffles, and the cost is $10 for adults, $6 for 10 and under, and you can pay at the door. 702 11th Street in Rupert, or the number to call, 436-9160. 2107. Third annual Summer Hawaiian Luau at the Minidoka County Senior Center. All right, give us a call on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Once again, we're trying to get hold of Dan Perkins and get him on the air this morning. And Deanna is out in the other room trying to call him, the same as what Wheels is. So for those in the audience, we've got kind of an open forum, and this is called Save Zeb. Call him on the radio, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I was not planning on not having a guest this half hour, so give us a jingle on the landline, and we would love to visit with you. Are we having any luck over there, Deanne? No. How about you, Wheels? Any luck?
I haven't gotten anything yet.
You just keep calling, buddy. This is dial for dollars until you get somebody. I appreciate it. So, pardon me?
I was just saying no problem.
I hope that's a call because we'll take it. I'll talk to anybody right now. And call us at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for calling. You saved my bacon.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hi there.
Good Monday. Hey, when you had the gentleman on talking about the Minidoka County Fair, he had a lot of enthusiasm, and one thing that I think that I know I appreciated that he said was, you know, these local businesses that support the 4-H programs, that support the high school athletic programs, that support Little League sports, such a vital thing in our community. The radio programs, yours, Steve Benton, that give so freely of their time to say, hey, you know what, come on, talk about your event free of charge. And big shout-out to the businesses and the organizations and the individuals in the community that are always so willing to support the cause, whatever it may be. You know, these business owners are, I'll bet, hit up multiple times a day to support different events, and they're generous. And as we look at purchasing supplies and that kind of thing, I think we owe it to shop local first and get what we can locally.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better myself. And I think I know who this is calling, and it's good to hear from you. But, you know, there's so much to be said for supporting your local businesses and going in the door and saying, you know something, I'm here to shop for you because of all you've done for our various actions and different things in the community, whether it's for the youth or whether it's for our senior citizens. God bless you for your thoughts. I thought that was very well stated.
Perfect. We live in a wonderful community, and let's get out there and support these businesses. So, thank you.
All right, sir. You know, there's a lot that man said there. We're always so quick to run in and say, hey, can you give a donation for this? Or, hey, could you help support that? And then you'll hear somebody say, well, I drove over here instead of shopping locally. Boy, you talk about a kick in the teeth. Let's support our local merchants. Let's support shopping right here locally. Let's make sure that we say a big thank you to the business owners by just walking in their door, buying our goods, and then maybe on the way out saying, thank you for supporting this, that, or the other. Boy, I mean, you'll make them feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Deanne? Deanne, keep calling over at the station because he is waiting for the call. Is that correct? Let's make sure that Damon's got the correct number. Damon, get on the line with me real quick. What number are you calling?
I am calling 973-687-4826.
Call it right now. He's waiting for your call.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Hopefully we're going to get Dan Perkins on the air in just a moment. He is the author of the book called The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy. You've heard him on this program before, and we'll get him on for an abbreviated conversation here in just a very few minutes. And your calls are always appreciated and welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Tomorrow on the program, program, we are planning on having Representative Fred Wood. I wanted Fred to come on and talk about what's going on with the Affordable Care Act, and we're going to have Charmy Lavelle on the program talking about the Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame, and then, of course, at 10:06, let's not forget our dear friend, Dr. History will be here at 10:06 in the studio tomorrow with another one of his great historical stories, or sometimes hysterical, from the Old West. Wheels, are we getting him?
I'm not. I just tried calling, and it went to his voicemail again, but I'm trying again.
Deanne, he said it just went to the voicemail. Is there a problem there for some reason? I feel like I'm the man in the middle. Help me out a little bit.
The guy said that has been texting him that he's waiting for a phone call.
He said he's texted you and waiting for the phone call, but evidently I don't know why. Keep trying that number, please.
Yes, sir.
All right. In the interim, please give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Deanne, call him back right now and have him call the station direct, if you would, please. Right now, let's go to the weather forecast, and the weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, the delicious meats in their retail meat department over there. Absolutely phenomenal. All the breakfast sausages, the bratwurst, all the bacon. They got a new type of bacon over there called buckboard bacon. Leaner and more economical than traditional bacon. Check it out along with all the other delicious meats at Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Wheels, if you're able, go ahead and let's hear Gina with the weather.
Going to be a fairly nice day as we start the beginning of the work week. However, as we get on into the evening hours, we might see some rain showers and thunderstorms. Here's your weather forecast for today. Partly cloudy skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 94. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms and rain showers this evening, cloudy skies after midnight. Expecting a low of 62, winds out of the southwest, 10 to 20 miles an hour in the overnight hours. Tomorrow, we are looking at partly cloudy skies, still a slight chance of some rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. High of 84, expecting mostly clear skies, and 60 for Tuesday night. Wednesday looks like partly cloudy skies with a high of 85. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And we appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. The weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my goodness, you've got to try the most delicious in meats, and that's from Scarrows Meats. 324-7657, and they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Any success with our guest over there, Wheels?
Yes, sir. I have him on the phone for you.
Very good. I have no idea why we couldn't make the connection, but we're glad to get him on the air for an abbreviated conversation this morning. The author of The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy, Dan Perkins. Good morning, sir. How are you? Dan, are you there? What else can go wrong? Are you there, Mr. Perkins?
I'm here.
We couldn't hear you.
It's a wonderful thing when it works.
Sometimes technology, we might as well use a paper cup and a string. You've been on the program before. You're the author of The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy, and I wanted to get you on the air this morning to find out your thoughts about why Canada agreed to pay a former Muslim killer and Guantanamo prisoner $8 million. Go ahead and give us the story.
Well, let's start with some facts that perhaps maybe some of your listeners don't know because they weren't very widely reported. First of all, this particular young man was born in Canada. He was a natural Canadian citizen. He, of his own free will, left Canada, went to Afghanistan, joined the rebels, and there he threw a grenade that killed an American soldier and blinded a second soldier. He was arrested, tried, and convicted for an 8-year sentence in Guantanamo Bay prison. He was not an American citizen, and he was treated as a war criminal and was not tried in the United States. So he does 6 years. He gets released to Canada for 2 additional years of probation. And then he decides to sue the Canadian government for wrongful treatment, meaning they used sleep deprivation to get their conviction, and he admitted that he had murdered the soldier. So the Canadian court decided that that the Canadian government was going to award him $8.5 million or so for his, quote, harsh treatment at Guantanamo Bay. But on top of that, which is to me the terrible part, in Idaho, no, it was not Idaho, it was Utah, the parents of the soldier who was killed and the soldier who was blinded won a $132 million wrongful death and mutilation court case. However, the Canadian Supreme Court, which issued the payment instruction and the apology by the government, said that the parents of both soldiers had no standing or any claim against any of the money that the man was going to be awarded. And I can only conclude that the reason the court did what it did was because of the incredible pressure for political correctness in Canada.
This is insanity, Dan, and go ahead.
No, yes, I agree. It is insanity. How the court could protect his money when a U.S. court found in the young man's parents and the other soldiers' favor, how they could go beyond and say that they cannot sue in Canadian courts. I can't come up with a logical reason why they did it. I believe that political correctness was involved in the original decision to award him the money, but he admits that he killed the soldier, wounded the other one. He was convicted by a military tribunal of his crime, and he served 6 years, which I thought was an amazing, lenient sentence, 8 years. And then he was sent to Canada to serve the last 2 years of his term under Canadian government supervision, and then he gets to sue the Canadian government. And at one time, the size of the suit was over $20 million. And the courts decided that not only are they going to make him a millionaire, even though he admitted killing the soldier, wounding the other, they're not going to allow the parents who lost a son in combat, one of our own, no redress. There was no allowed for a wrongful death suit in Canada.
Let me ask you this, Dan. Why wasn't there the inclination to have a revocation of this man's Canadian citizenship when he left his country to go and fight against the Allies, the United States, Canada, etc., with ISIS? Why wasn't there a revocation of his citizenship and he should have been shot or hung?
Because it's not the politically correct thing to do.
So are we at that?
We think we have it bad. We ask ourselves many, many times the political correct statutes, how these things happen in our country. But in England and all of Europe and in Canada, political correctness is way ahead of us in terms of them making decisions based on feelings and what they believe to be right emotionally, not on a basis of law and in fact. And that's the danger, because when the court made this decision, in another case, they could feel differently and make a different decision. And so the idea that we have this kind of stupidity going on is just, to me, it's just amazing that it happens. And people like you and I look at it and say, how could this happen? How could an American family lose their son? They know who the killer was. The killer is convicted of his crime, and yet he gets $8.5 million, and the parents get no wrongful death settlement. It's not logical, but when you're dealing with political correctness, it isn't logical.
Dan, have we got to the point now in this world, especially coming here to the United States right now, the wah-wah crybaby attitude of the Muslims and, oh, they're picking on us, so evidently everybody's going to side against us, and then the government says, oh, we'll take the Muslim side. And this is how they're going to take over control without really even having to fire a shot. It's because our government is treating them like little crybabies, and they're going to get their way.
Well, that's partially true, but I think there's another piece to this puzzle. I think for the longest time, for probably most of 40 years, the protected class in the United States were the black people, because of supposedly all the guilt of the Civil War. I believe over the last 5 years, the Democratic Party has moved away from the black people and moved to the Muslim people as the new protected class. And I think it's more than anything else, it's physically out of fear for their own lives.
You know, I think you're absolutely spot on with your analysis. But why just the Democratic Party? Is that their mantra right now? Why haven't the Republicans joined in with the same idiocy?
Because the Democratic Party has during the entire Obama administration run, the Democratic Party has run on a platform of victims. Victims. Black people are victims. Gay people are victims. On and on and on. They have all these victims. And so the, quote, persecution of the Muslims created a new victim class. But it's a victim class that is very aggressive, very powerful, and tends to dominate the situation. And so I think that the Democrats are more afraid of making the Muslims angry, and as a result, having a serious problem of being able to deal with them. So out of fear more than anything else. I mean, if you look at what's going on, look what's happening in Europe, for example, under the immigration of all these Muslim people. What's happening is that they are beginning to yell and scream and make demands on what they want the government of Germany or France or England or whoever, what they want for being there. Even though they're not citizens, they don't speak the language, they will never learn the language because under the Sharia law and the Quran, they are forbidden to assimilate with Christians and Jews, so they're never going to join the French or the Germans or the Italians or whoever. They're always going to be a separate class, and their separateness is what's allowing them to become more and more influential. We had George Soros over the weekend who's talking about funding the Muslim state of Europe. He wants the entire European Union to become a Muslim state.
You know, in last question, I've only got a minute left here, Dan, but what are your thoughts about the way the Trump administration is really pointing their finger at Iran and telling them basically to shut up and go sit in the corner? What are your thoughts about maybe the revamping of the Iranian nuclear deal? Real quick, I've got a minute left.
Okay, I think we should do that. I think what's happening is that the world is beginning to see that America now has a president who doesn't want to lead from behind, because leading from behind is not leading. And the world desperately needs America to lead to try and make it a much safer world.
Absolutely. Dan Perkins, the author of the book called The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy. Excellent guest. He's been on the air many times with us in the past. Dan, I've got to run. I'm out of time, but come back again real soon. Would you please?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we got screwed up in connection.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Dan Perkins. And we'll have him on again for a full segment in the next couple of days. Right now, I want to remind everybody about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And they want to make sure that you get where you're going this summer safely with the best of tires for your pickup, SUV, your cars, trailers, boat trailers, horse trailers, whatever. And always ask about a free pre-trip safety check where they will give a visual inspection on your tires, checking the air pressure, wheel alignment for tire wear, front end components, brake components, everything. Shocks and struts, battery, make sure it's got a load test. They want to make sure that when you drive out of your front yard, you're going to take that trip and enjoy it safely. Stop in and check out all the tires for all your driving needs. Brake service, absolutely first class. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Holy cow, we got to run. We're going to be back tomorrow. Wheels, thanks for all your help getting our guest on the air. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll be back at 8:06 tomorrow morning, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. Have a great Monday. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.